Here are the past picks of Bob McWhirter, the president of Selective Asset Management. You made these October 9th of 2013. Valiant Pharma, topical to be sure, threatening to go, I was about to say violent, hostile on Allergan as Allergan turns down their latest offer. You're out of this now. Why'd you sell, and what do you make of Valiant now?
We haven't, in other words, some of the recommendations that we make on the top picks are ones that we don't own, in part because a lot of the stocks I deal with are really small companies, and unfortunately they're not hugely liquid, so therefore to tell your audience about them drives the price crazy, and it's not fair when you end up saying, okay, the things move too much. So we try to pick stuff that in many cases is more liquid but still offers decent opportunities. So Valiant up 23% since we recommended it. Remember what this company is. It's basically, in my view, a tax arbitrage opportunity. They bought effectively BioVail, which basically had a very efficient tax structure, and that allows effectively Valiant to end up saying, we can afford to buy a company for almost more than anybody else can in the U.S. because the tax rate is going to be, instead of a 30% corporate tax rate, it's going to be, let's say, 7%, to pick a number to the air. So the company's going to be a lot more profitable. The U.S. government is looking sideways at any of these structures and suggests that by the end of 2014, the game may be up. So as a result, Valiant and others are basically doing as much as possible, as quickly as possible, and trying to get everything on the books in 2014. So that's why the kind of Allergan is there. But all that being said, the underlying company itself is extremely cash flow positive, and their ability to acquire companies that don't need a lot of care and feeding is also extremely good. We think there's still lots of growth opportunities ahead.
Next up, Avigilon, AVO, had that big run for a while and then pulled back, although it seems to be stabilizing in the last while. Tell us about the high-definition surveillance camera company. That's
correct. We own this one. It's up 21% point to point, but it was up 70% when we sold it in March. Pardon me. The concern was that the company previously had grown at 60% per year with sales and was able to be free cash flow positive. They decided there were great opportunities in the marketplace, and they were going to hire a ton of salespeople to end up accelerating that growth. That then says that it takes about 6 to 9 months for a salesperson to be profitable and to start to contribute to the bottom line. As a result, in the near term, the kind of earnings have basically started to drift off a little bit. We think it's still a very good opportunity. Sold the stock at roughly $30 in round figures. It's now 22 and change. It has got down as low as about 18. We think it's bottomed, but there's still a couple quarters before we think earnings will start to pick back up once the salespeople start to become productive.
And lastly, CGI Group you recommended. This one's kind of flat since then.
Yes, it has been. Obviously, there were the concerns about what was going on with the kind of work that they did for the U.S. Healthcare system, which in my view was no fault of their own. Still a great company, still great kind of free cash flow generation, still ranks highly in our models. We don't own it at the moment. We'll talk about the kind of other three picks that we think offer kind of better opportunities, but we think there's still good growth potential for CGI.
Okay, so of the three, Avigilon, CGI, you still recommend?
Yes, yep. But it's one where, again, based on the fact that they're larger companies, meaning Valiant and CGI, we think there's opportunities that are available in the smaller companies that we'll talk about in the three picks.
Which we'll find out with the top picks. Those are the past picks of Bob. Once again, CGI, Avigilon, and Valiant Pharma. We'll come back with more of your questions after this break on technology and Canadian stocks.